Hey, Mike, I'm here at the fruit stand outside of Letterkenny, and I'm looking at the sky, and I see lots of things falling. I'm talking about fantasy quarterbacks. Producer! Welcome to the Fantasy Forecast with Grindberg and bigz. He is Grindberg, I am bigz, and this is the Fantasy Forecast. I'm sitting in a room that smells like Frankfurters because my dog is farting and he's a hot dog. What are we doing today, Grindberg?
Today we are talking about fantasy football, of course, and today we're talking about quarterback fallers after the draft. Whether you're talking about, a rookie quarterback, or you're talking about a quarterback that just fell under a bad situation after the draft happened, and we're going to attack these quarterbacks here on the Fantasy Football Advice Network, and you're here with Grindberg and bigz. What's up, bigz?
Not much. I got my Waterloo. Not a sponsor, but hey, Waterloo, reach out. So let's talk about some quarterbacks. And, of course, these are quarterbacks. We're trying to help make you a champion in your redraft leagues, your Yahoo, ESPN, NFL.com, CBS Sports, etc. Work league, family league, whatever. Just basically like what you do every year in redraft. Oh, it's August, time to draft. Everybody put in $10, whatever. So we just had the draft. And we talked about some risers the last few episodes, like guys who benefited from their draft positions and things like that. And today we're talking about fallers, as if it's rain coming down from the skies. My first faller is Mac Jones. Mac Jones, now, there was a small contingent of fantasy players that wanted to draft Mac Jones, wanted to say, okay, he's been in the league a couple of years, it's going to be his time to shine. And all the Patriots got a new head coach, they're going to implement a new offense, all this stuff, and it's just wheels up for Mac Jones. And Drake Maye was drafted by the New England Patriots, so Mac Jones is kind of on the back burner now. He got the Kenny Pickett treatment. And I wouldn't draft Mac Jones with somebody else's team. My next faller is Sam Darnold. Similar. Now, Sam Darnold started his career with the New York Jets. He had a lot of problems. He found himself in San Francisco, and somehow Trey Lance was the odd man out in San Francisco. He got scuttled off. Brock Purdy was the starter, and Sam Darnold was his backup. And everybody was looking at Baker Mayfield, and his time spent in the NFL broke out in 2023. He got a starting position after being a backup for so long. And hey, maybe Sam Darnold is the next guy. Kirk Cousins is out in Minnesota. They bring Sam Darnold in. It's time. It's Darnold's time. And then the Vikings went and they used a top 10 draft pick on J.J. McCarthy, who is now going to be the starter in Minnesota, throwing the ball to the likes of Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, T.J. Hawkinson, etc. So Sam Darnold, again, I'm not going to draft him at all, even though I was kind of looking forward to Sam Darnold's career resurgence. How about you, Mike? You got a couple?
I do have a couple, and I'm going to more attack the rookie class because, there were some rookies in this class that were steaming up before the draft, and now they kind of hit a bit of a wall there, and I'm going to tell you a little bit why behind that, and that's my first faller in the rookie class, in my opinion, and that was Michael Pratt, and, he wasn't a highly touted prospect headed into this draft, but he lands in a situation where I just don't see him ever going to be able to have the opportunity of ever starting in the NFL. He may be a backup and maybe even not even that, depending on how this lineup shakes up. And he got drafted by the Green Bay Packers, and we obviously know that Jordan Love is there, and he is the face of that franchise now. We know that that's a young team that is loaded with weapons, and maybe if Jordan Love got injured or something like that, Michael Pratt could get into the ball game, but I'm not putting a whole lot of stock in him, and that landing spot is even worse for a guy like Michael Pratt. And then my next one, he shot down the board a little bit for me here, and I'm just going to touch base on him briefly, and that's Michael Penix, and he got drafted by the Atlanta Falcons, and he's behind Kirk Cousins, and I'm not exactly sure that that's going to be a very good landing spot for him this year especially, but we're going to get deeper in that, I'm sure, as this program goes on. But what do you got as your number one guy there, bigz? Because I think I might have alluded to that a little bit here with, hooking him in a bit. And let's talk about the number one guy that you're talking about as your faller.
Well, Mike, I'll tell you. My number one faller is Michael Penix. Okay, so when I say faller, what do I mean by faller? I mean somebody that we had a hope for, we were dreaming on, and one of those guys was Michael Penix. I thought for sure that Michael Penix was going to be able to step into the NFL and earn himself a starting job. And what would that mean in fantasy? That would mean that he would have been draftable, because he would have had a job, and you could have put him on your team in the later rounds as your quarterback 2 in a redraft league, and kind of done a wait and see with Michael Penix Jr. Michael Penix Jr. had a fantastic couple seasons with Washington. He was throwing to Rome Odunze, he was throwing to Jalen McMillan, he was throwing to Jalen Polk, and he did very, very well. And all 3 of those wide receivers ascended to pretty high draft picks in the NFL. And it was on the left arm of Michael Penix Jr. He kind of started out his career at Indiana with he was a running style quarterback, and he had some speed bumps along the way, some mechanical issues that he had to work out, some gameplay that he had to kind of get better at, not staring down receivers, looking, going through his reads, cleaning up his footwork, things like that. And over the last couple seasons at Washington, he did a really good job, and I watched a lot of tape on him, and I was pretty excited about him coming out. I thought he would definitely be worthy of a back-end 15 to 32 draft pick in the NFL, still a first-rounder, still with enough draft capital to start for somebody. And then the Atlanta Falcons zigged when everybody was zagging, and they reached up and they grabbed him at that number 8 spot, much to the chagrin of all of the Michael Penix stands out there, and to the confusion of all of the Atlanta Falcons fans that said, hey, we just brought in Kirk Cousins and gave him a 5-year deal. What's going on? Which stretched the timeline for Michael Penix by about 2 years, which is going to be when Atlanta can move on comfortably from Kirk Cousins. So all of that hope is dashed. Michael Penix no longer draftable in your redraft leagues, and for that, he is my number one faller.
As he should be. And you know what? In redraft leagues, he's definitely not draftable, but he's kind of a sneaky guy in the second round of a dynasty startup a dynasty rookie draft, because he's a guy that could potentially be surrounded by a bunch of weapons down the line, and he has that veteran presence with all the time he spent in college playing. But I'm out on Michael Penix, like I mentioned earlier, and as should all of you folks. And then my biggest faller in the rookie class here, and he's a guy that garnered top 3 draft capital, and I'm talking about Drake Maye. The New England Patriots decided to make Drake Maye their franchise quarterback by making him a top 5 pick in the draft. Maye was such an exciting prospect that many had pegged as the clear 1B to Caleb Williams' 1A headed into the college season in 2023. Maye has the physicality, the arm strength, the mobility. He's 6'4", 223 pounds. His arm is powerful, and he can make most of the throws. He's able to, throw the ball in tight spaces or pitch up the perfect ball when the situation deems plausible. But he is willing and able to be a runner as well. So he's not going to win you a game on the ground, but he will get you those extra yards. He was the ACC Player of the Year in 2022. He threw for 4,300 yards and 38 touchdowns in just 14 games, only throwing 7 interceptions. So that's a pretty decent ratio, and I think that's why the Patriots like him so much. By no means is the 2023 season was a poor season for Drake Maye, but his stock went down because, who else was there? Jaden Daniels had a prolific season. He had one of the best college seasons of any, college quarterback ever. So, ever. So you put that behind Caleb Williams, you put that behind Jaden Daniels, and then in comes a guy like J.J. McCarthy, who is surrounded by a lot better situation. His landing spot was better. The Patriots' receiving prospects aren't the strongest. They did add a couple guys like Jalen Polk and Javon Baker in the draft this year, but who are the other guys around them? There's not a whole lot there. When you're talking about Kendrick Bourne and KJ Osborne, I do like Demario Pop Douglas in that offense, but as we talking about there, that's a lot of inexperience in that wide receiving group, and I just don't think that Drake Maye is going to be, surrounded to succeed as a rookie and in the future for the New England Patriots. I just really hope that, with everything shown here, he is still a dual threat quarterback. He has some potential there, but I'm a little hesitant. I'm not all the way out on Drake Maye, but I think he will be a valuable piece of any 2 quarterback superflex roster. But his landing spot, I think, is just the least likely to have a great rookie season when you compare him to Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, and J.J. McCarthy, and that's why they are positioned better in the rookie seasons, and that's why Drake Maye is a faller for me.
I heartily disagree with you, Mike.
Okay.
I don't think Drake Maye fell at all. In fact, as a result of his draft capital, the draft capital investment that the New England Patriots made in Drake Maye and their draft picks of Baker and Jalen Polk show a commitment to the young kid, and I think he's just going to benefit from it. I think he's going to wind up in that Patriots offense better than a lot of landing spots that we could have hoped for. Las Vegas. So I really like Drake Maye. Jalen Polk, I still have him as my 3rd best wide receiver coming off of that Washington team. Javon Baker, I don't know if you've seen some of the videos coming out about his little route running, his stutter step, his dead leg, and then reaching back and one-handing a ball that came out. I just saw it for the first time today. The kid is an absolute stud, and we talk a lot about Ladd McConkey and Justin Herbert and how McConkey is going to become the Chargers' quarterback's best friend, and I think we're looking at Javon Baker doing the same damn thing over in Foxborough. I really, really like Drake Maye, and when we do our fantasy forecast listeners league, I'm gonna draft Drake Maye before you do.
Well, you will, because I'm going to be out of Drake Maye in redraft leagues 100% this year for sure. I don't dismiss his long-term future with there. Obviously, the draft capital speaks for itself.
I'm talking about 2024, Mike.
Yeah, I'm talking about 2024 as well. So you can have all your Drake Maye, and I will take other guys in similar position. Take them.
Anybody who wants to check out my Drake Maye receipts, go to my Twitter page at BigBonedFFB. Go into the little search where you can search the content of the person and just type in Drake Maye and see the tweets that I've tweeted about Drake Maye. I stand by everything that I've said, and I'm not moving.
He's not moving, folks, and we are going to move on to...
We're going to move on!
To our wide receiver class next episode, which we're going to talk about our fallers in the wide receiving group. I thought you were going to say
up to the east side in a deluxe apartment in the Sky High.
No, not quite. But
boo!
bigz does bring up a really good point, and we
do.
We are
every once in a while.
Going to be starting up a listener league here at the Fantasy Forecast, and it's going to be powered by the Fantasy Football Advice Network. So remember to like our stuff, comment on things, because if you comment and you want to get into our league, shoot us a DM, and we'll be sure to get that going. And we're going to start some contests as this offseason continues, and bigz' DMs are going to be wide open. So please,
you think you could beat me? You think you could beat me?
You got what it takes?
You think you could beat me? Like Mike did?
I don't know.
You think you could beat me? Come on, bring it.
Come on. Let's bring it. Let's bring it on. Okay. So that's it for today. Thanks everybody for tuning in to the Fantasy Forecast. Our show is growing. We really, really appreciate everybody for tuning in every day. Continue to follow us on the Fantasy Football Advice Network, because we're constantly bringing you advice about your fantasy football team and how to win your championship. bigz, you want to take us out with the show here, bro?
If you or anybody you know works for Waterloo in Austin, Texas, get into my DMs, because I really want them to sponsor me. I love their products. This is amazing. The Tropical Punch, it tastes like fruit punch, sparkling water. It's amazing. Get at me, bro. That's it. Follow me on Twitter. Follow him on Twitter. Like and subscribe. Hit the bell. All that stuff. And watch for big news coming in the future.
Yeah. Let's go.